Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a riff by riff breakdown guitar lesson of This Fire by Killswitch Engage. Some of you guys might know this as the wrestling entrance theme song for CM Punk. But it's a fantastic song. The lyrics for this one are absolutely awesome. So let's break this down riff by riff and get stuck into it. Okay, so the first thing guys is I am in drop C tuning on this guitar. That is the stock standard Killswitch Engage tuning for most of their work. So let's look at our first riff. There's a couple of things that we're going to need to know in order to pull this song off. We're going to need great alternate picking, we're going to need great pinch harmonics, and we're also going to need to know how to pick slide because Killswitch like to do those sorts of effects in amongst their riffs. So I have a free 7-day metal guitar bootcamp which covers a lot of the technique side of things that you guys can jump into for free. So make sure you find that link in the description or the comments below and join that if you want to upgrade your metal guitar playing. With that out of the way, let's have a look at our first riff from this song. So let's break this down. We've got a couple of things going on here is we're essentially pedaling on this bottom string and we start with a hammer on from 0 to 2 on the 6th string, followed by some alternate picked palm muted notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 palm mutes after our hammer on. Then we're going to do a pull off from the 5th fret back to that 2nd fret. Make sure you don't palm mute that. We want the right hand open. Then we're going to follow that by 2 alternate pick chugs on that 2nd fret. Then an open string open note. Then we're going to do a nice big juicy pinch harmonic on the 2nd fret of that bottom string. Now I've seen some tabs on the internet that say that this pinch harmonic is up the neck a little bit. I don't know if I agree with that. It's just not really conducive to playing the riff well if we're having to jump out of this position. So what a lot of the tabs online have said in the past is that it's up here on the 7th fret on the E. But there's a little trick if you know your pinch harmonics well, is that once you learn to pinch harmonic, and if you're struggling with that technique, I have a video on it on my channel that you can go and watch. There are actually some different harmonics that we can hit with the right hand. We have some lower pitch ones that are closer to the neck pickup, and then we have some higher pitch ones that are closer to the bridge pickup. So that's what I actually think they're doing on this song, is I think they're hitting a bridge harmonic here. Pinch harmonic that's about 1 centimeter away from the bridge pickup. Now it'll sound pretty similar then to that and playing the lower harmonic, or essentially the kind of neck pickup harmonic if it was on the 7th fret of that 5th string where some of the tabs say it. So this is where I disagree a little bit with the tabs, because I can actually get the same result by just shifting my right hand back a little bit here. Okay, so this first bar sounds like this. Like so. Then I'm going to play 0, 2, and then 2 quick alternate picked chuggers on the open string. Then I'm going to hit a C power chord, or because I'm in drop C, it's a B flat power chord, but the 3rd fret on that 5th string. Then I'm going to come back to that 2nd fret on the bottom string with my 1st finger, and I'm going to finish off with some chugs. So the second bar is like this. Now we should end on an upstroke if we've done our alternate picking well. That's always the marker. Think of where you start and where you finish if you want to be a great alternate picker. So I put these 2 bars together. I get this. Then I'm essentially going to go back to the same idea that I had in that first bar, but I'm going to just change the tail end of it. Like this, but I'm not going to drop to the open string. I'm going to jump straight up to some power chords on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. A chug after these. And then I've got 2 power chords on the 5th fret, followed by a chug on the bottom string. And then I'm going to do a nice pick slide on the bottom. So let's talk pick slides here, because this is something that gets people. You have to use the friction of the pick against the kind of little divots that you've got in the string and drag your pick across them. And you actually want to create as much friction as possible by doing this, because that'll give you the best sound. Some people will just kind of slide their pick along, but I don't think it gives as good a quality sound as what we're looking for. So just experiment with that. When I'm holding the pick like this, I actually use this edge, the edge that is like furthest away from me right now, and I'll just basically hold that at a 90-degree angle and then drag that along the strings and try and catch as much friction as possible so I get as much of a scrapey sound. So let's put this whole first riff together. Like that. Now, we're going to continue this riff, but we're not going to do the pick slide on the following repeats of it. We're going to add in a different tail now. So when we come back to this riff, we repeat it. But we add this at the end. So we have our chords up along the 5th string on the 2nd repeat of it. And then 2 little chugs on the open bottom. Then we're going to do a pull off from 3 to 2 on the bottom string. And then we're just going to finish off with 6 alternate pick strokes on the bottom string with alternate picking and palm muting. So and I get that. And this becomes our main riff. So we just essentially keep focusing and cycling through this. So let's now look at the next part of the song. So to bring us to the next part of the song, there's a little pre-chorus kind of like arpeggio break, but before it we have to have a different tail exit out of our main riff. So we're just gonna hit some open bottom string chords. So basically just the open 6th string, the open 5th string with it. We're just gonna downstroke, get a nice real big chuggy sound out of it. Then we're gonna hit this. So we've got a nice spooky chord that we're gonna play here. You need your pinky on the 4th fret of the G. We need our first finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then we need an open 1st string. And we're going to hit the 3rd string twice, and then alternate pick on this, I should say. We're then going to hit the 2nd string, and then come back to the 3rd string, then hit the 1st string, back to that 3rd string, then 2nd string, back to that 3rd string. So when I put this together, we want to let all of those notes ring through each other. So you've got to have a really good purchase of the chord, a really good arch on this left hand so everything comes through. And you're not cutting any of those notes off. Okay, so let's now talk the chorus. So the chorus is super easy, guys. All we're really doing is just smashing through some power chords here. So the first one we're going to play is a 2nd fret drop power chord. So we're playing the 2nd fret on the 6th, 5th, and 4th string. And we're just going to hit these with sort of half notes. We're going to do 2 bars of that. You can alternate pick it, you can down pick it as well. It's slow enough to do both. Then we're going to hit the 3rd fret on the 5th string. And then we're going to come down to an open drop power chord. But when we do this one, we're going to palm mute on our right hand, and then we have a little exit kind of fill out of this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 across the 5th fret and the 4th fret on the bottom string. Lift off the palm mute for that, and then we go back to that 2nd fret. I play 1 open at the start, and then the rest for the following 2 bars are all palm mutes. Okay, so far I've got after this, come back to that 3rd fret on the 5th string. going to finish back on the open bottom string chord there. And you can throw in a little pick slide to come back into the main riff. Okay guys, so we're starting to build the song up. This song has a pretty traditional pop style arrangement of intro, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. In the second verse, there's a kind of broken up version of that main riff where we added some stops really. So just basically going to play that and then not play any of this stuff in between and then come back in on the power chord. So pretty straightforward. You just got to make sure that you're nice and tight and that you're not going to overplay and bring notes in where they shouldn't be in those rest periods. And just a note, there's no pre-chorus before you come into that second chorus. It's just straight into it without that part there, and then you just straight into the chorus, which we looked at before. Okay guys, so let's now talk the breakdown. So they use that little pre-chorus arpeggio to then come into the breakdown. And the breakdown riff is some really just nice, thick, chuggy, heavy metalcore chords. Reminds me a lot of Killswitch's first album and the song number Days here. So let's break this down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start on a 3rd fret power chord on the bottom 2 strings. We're gonna palm mute it. Come to the 2nd fret, we're going to open our hand up on that one so that we don't palm mute the second one. We're going to do that. Then we're then going to come back to the 3rd fret, the 2nd fret, palm mute both of those. Then we're going to jump up to a double stop chord, which is the 3rd fret on the 5th and 4th string. We're going to play that one open, and then we're going to go back to the bottom string chugged. So this first bar. Then we're going to come back to our idea. We're going to repeat it. Now all we're going to do is play the same thing, but we're going to change that bottom note from the 2nd fret chord to the 1st fret. So like so, and then we're going to play 2, 1. So a slight difference there. And then we've got this little fill, which is this. So this one, 3, 2, 0 along the bottom string, just drop power chords. Then we're going to play a B power chord or an A power chord technically because I'm in drop tuning. Then hit a chug, 3rd fret power chord along the 5th string, chug, and then a double stop along the 1st fret on the 5th and 4th. So this gives me the first half of the breakdown. Now the second half of the breakdown is essentially the same riff, just padded out with a bit more like chugging. So some Hetfield style down picking. And then at the end of it, we just have a nice big pick slide to bring us into the final chorus. Chorus is exactly the same as before, except this time maybe you want to throw down the lead part. So let's add that in as a little bit of a bonus here. So what we're going to do, we've got to play a nice stretchy chord. This is going to hurt a little bit. You need your 7th fret on the 1st string with your 1st finger. You then need the 8th fret on the 2nd string with your 2nd finger. Then you've got to stretch your pinky to 11 on the 3rd string. And then we're going to have a string skippy pattern. We're going to repeat this for a few bars until we come to 10 on the 1st string. So you're going to need your 3rd finger for that, and then move your 1st finger to the 8th fret on the 2nd string. And we have this. Make sure you've got a good alternate picking pattern on both of those. Okay guys, so then for the outro, it basically returns to the main riff, but it starts to break it down and sort of slow it down a little bit. And it takes this first half of it and just repeats it until we have a big old school kind of chord ending where we just hit 5th fret, 4th fret, and then end on that 2nd fret. And then you're done. Okay guys, so that breaks down all the riffs for this song. Now you're going to need to then practice that with the backing track and start to put it together and play along with it. That's always the thing that grows you most as a guitarist. So make sure you go and watch some of my other videos that talk about this and how to build your speed. You also might want to check out my video on pinch harmonics, and then if you want to deep dive and get better in terms of being a metal player, I have a free 7-day metal guitar bootcamp that you guys can check out. The link is in the description and in the comments below.